Jim Ginder, Health Education Specialist for the Hamilton County Health Department, joins me now. Hi, Jim.
Good afternoon.
What do we let Chris have some time off?
Yep, so I am in the hot seat as of today for Chris.
Well,
Oh,
congratulations.
thanks.
Hey, we're really lucky to have you actually because you work directly with the school districts on their COVID-19 policies. And we're now a few weeks into school,
Mhm.
just past the Labor Day mark. How are we doing?
You know what? I have to give kudos out to all the schools in the county which we oversee. In the schools we don't oversee, of course, are our Fisher schools and HSC schools because of the Fisher's Health Department. But all of my school partners are awesome. A lot of people have this kind of thinking that COVID is being transmitted in the schools, and that's actually not happening. What's happening is people or students are actually bringing COVID into the schools with them. So it's not actually happening in the schools. As I mentioned, so a great example, a student is at a party this weekend and tests positive for COVID, and we know the student has been to school. And let's say they've been around 5 or 6 of their friends, so now we have to quarantine some of their friends as well too. And I hear a lot of people saying, well, COVID is being transmitted through the school. Actually, it's not. It's people coming to school who have been to these parties or they're gathering, which is probably right now a kind of a bad behavior choice right now. And they're being tested for, then they're having symptoms of COVID and being tested. Then we need to start the quarantine process as well too.
I know that you're the one who has to sometimes deliver the news that kids are going to have to be quarantined. I can't imagine that's something that you take lightly.
So that's a hard, and I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people think that we like to quarantine people just for the fun of it, and that is not true at all. When I'm called as a resource person, so great example is a school nurse or school administrator will call me and say, "Hey, this is what we've got. This is what we want to do. Do you recommend that we do quarantine?" And I make sure that we do everything we can. Have they been around anybody? Have they been 6 feet away from people? So I just throw out some stuff to say, hey, what can we do to not quarantine these kids? But unfortunately, a lot of times we do have to quarantine them because they meet the CDC guidelines as well too. And I hate to do it. I hate to say, hey, I'm with you that we need to quarantine these kids, but we have to protect the health and safety of others as well too.
What's the reaction been from those who've actually had to be told to got to stay out of school for 14
Right, and
days?
that's a great question. And usually they're pretty. I have a lot of people who are pretty negative and start yelling at me and screaming at me, telling them that I'm causing their student to lose their scholarship or they're not going to do well in school. But they also need to understand that I have to protect the general population as well too. And unfortunately, their child was one of those individuals who were around somebody who tested positive, and there's really not much we can do. We have to protect the population. And one of the ways we do that is through quarantine. And if you think about it, it's 14 days. And I've talked to some of my personal friends whose kids have been quarantined, and they're like, you know what? It's bad. The kids are bored, but they'll get through it.
That's true. This is a nice segue into our Show Some Class campaign, which we just
Right.
kicked off a couple weeks ago. Brand new and up now for everyone to see is our showsomeclass.org website. I've just showed it here. And you can see the different features that are on here, but a couple of the big ones for families is school policies. If you go here, you're going to find the policy for each of the school districts that is participating in this campaign. So that's a nice resource. And then eventually, here in the next week or so, we hope to have a dashboard to show you all of the positive cases in all the schools in Hamilton County. And then while you're here, there are some other great options for you to take a look at. Under top of the class, we have some local Hamilton County celebrities, folks with Hamilton County ties, that are showing us how they use class or show class in order to stay healthy and make sure that kids can stay in school. And then from the front lines is a neat feature that we will be doing each week. And we started last week speaking with the principal, James McNeely from Guerin High School. They had to switch to a hybrid model and just went back to school today, right, Jim?
That's correct.
And he talks about the difficulties and some of the pain points of having class with COVID and trying to maintain that. So each week we're going to be featuring a different school district, talking about the things that are working, being honest about the things that maybe aren't. And we invite you to come join us and look at showsomeclass.org and learn a little bit more about what our schools are struggling with right now.
And I think it's really important for people to understand that the health department, we're doing 100% what we can do to prevent the population within Hamilton County. And if we feel that a school needs, students at a school need to be quarantined, that's what we're going to do. And I can tell you, every school, private school, public school in the Hamilton County area, except the HSC schools, which again, we don't have because of Fisher's Health Department, they're doing an awesome job. What we do at the health department is the schools have their own policies and procedures, and we just give recommendations. So a school may go ahead and quarantine somebody, and that's their choice to do it. But I can tell you 100% of schools will call us if they have any questions or if they have any doubts whether or not they should quarantine somebody, and we'll give them some advice what we recommend that they do as well.
Let's go back to late last week. We posted a COVID complaint line on social media, and we got lots and lots and lots of feedback. I think a lot of people thought we just created this number so people could rat out their friends and family and people at restaurants, but that was not the intention. Tell us.
Correct. Right. So the COVID hotline was developed actually to kind of help all of us here in the office, because probably 99% of the calls that we receive are COVID questions or COVID issues. So instead of all 25 of us here in the health department taking all those calls, we decided to put it through one line. And what happens is when we answer that line, what we do is we look at the complaint and see what it is. And we're also gathering complaints. Is there more complaints about one location compared to other locations? Is it a complaint that we've already investigated as well too? It's kind of a central storage for COVID complaints that we can, it's easier for one person to kind of keep all that information straight than 25 people getting all these calls and trying to figure out if they've been taken care of, not been taken care of. So it's a great way to keep all the COVID calls together.
And quite honestly, we would prefer if folks can kind of handle some of those situations on their own. Because unless you are having a problem specifically with a restaurant, beyond our restaurant inspection policies, there's not much we can do.
Correct, exactly. If there's not, like, we have a lot of people who make complaints about events that have happened. Mm-hmm. That's great if they want to make a complaint about, let's say, an event that happened in the park somewhere. That's kind of what that COVID line is for, so we can get that call and respond to that complaint to see what's going on. What did that organization say that they were supposed to do in their written plan, which they didn't do? So we can kind of figure out how we can help them better prepare for the next event that they have. Or that restaurant who has the employees who are not following the guidance sent out by the Indiana State Department of Health and the CDC, that maybe we need to go in and do an additional restaurant inspection and really see what's going on, because we've had multiple complaints at that one restaurant because their staff isn't wearing masks. So that's kind of the reason why we have that line.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me about these written plans. Are people still taking them very?
Sure, they are. Yes. So what happened? Yes. So many of you are familiar with the governor's guidelines that came out that if you're going to have an event with more than 250 people, plans have to be submitted to the health department. And we receive plans every minute of the day about organizations, which is awesome, that have these activities that are going to have more than 250 people. And what we do is we have a planning committee that actually looks through each individual plan and gives recommendations. So like a great example, if a plan is submitted to us and they don't have anything about wearing masks, well, mask a requirement via the governor. So we'll send something back to the event organizer saying, hey, what are you gonna do about your mask? Or if they don't have enough hand sanitizing stations, that's something we'll send back and say, hey, can you tweak this plan a little bit and make sure that you add these things and resubmit the plan. So we do have the ability to shut down an event if we need to. Luckily, as of today, we have not had to do that. But what can happen though is, let's say there was an event this weekend and we have tons of complaints about this event, and let's say it's an ongoing event, we can actually request an action plan, and so that event can actually resubmit a plan and say, hey, this is what we did, it didn't work, this is what we're going to do better. And that's something that we do as well. So we always have these events that we get tons of complaints for, to do an action plan and resubmit it. And usually they do very well after they submit the action plan.
Jim Ginder, Health Education Specialist with the Hamilton County Health Department. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your new insights this week.
Thanks, ma'am. Have a great day.